Hi there, and welcome back to The Single Cook. My name is Tiffany, and I'm your host. Today we're going to be making a recipe that my mom used to make when I was little. I called her and got the recipe from her. It's called Oriental Beef and Noodles. Apparently it came from some Weight Watchers cookbook a long time ago, and we've adjusted it a little bit for our family's taste. But today we're going to be making that. So let's talk ingredients. So the things that we're going to need, you're going to need a pot of boiling water, which I already have going. I'm going to be using whole wheat spaghetti because that's what I have on hand, and you can use whatever kind of spaghetti you want, but that's the noodles that I use. We're going to need some cornstarch, soy sauce, teriyaki sauce. You'll need 2 cups of broth. She said beef broth, but I have that chicken and vegetable concentrate that I had made last time, so I have 2 cups of broth from that. Onion, garlic, a bag of frozen sweet garden peas. I'm not going to be using the whole bag, only a partial, but I have frozen peas. A pound of hamburger. I have 3 bella mushrooms that I have cut up. And then some stir-in ginger paste. You can absolutely use fresh ginger, but I find that this is a really easy way to get ginger in without having to do all of the scraping and peeling and then dicing. This way, it's already done for me, and it goes right in. Okay, those are our ingredients. Let's get to cooking. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that whole wheat spaghetti and we're going to measure out however much we'd like to use. I already have my pot of salted boiling water going on that back hob, and I'm only going to be making enough for myself. I do like a healthy amount of spaghetti, so I'm going to do about that much, so about 1 inch round. And I'm going to pop that in my pot. Pick up any stray pieces, and I'm not going to break it, so I'm just going to kind of wiggle it down, and as it heats up it'll be easier to move it down. Try not to burn myself in the process or break it. And I'm going to use my lid to kind of help me push the rest of it down and then just let it go. Now in my skillet I'm going to first get the heat going on it. I have some neutral oil already inside it because I just washed my pan and needed to re-season it. But I'm going to get started with my mushrooms and my white onion. And I'm only using about 1/3 of a large white onion here. These are already diced. You all know I like to have that prepped and ready to go in my fridge for various recipes. And then I'm going to be using a pound of that ground beef. And I'm just going to break that up with my hands so that it's spread out and manageable chunks. And as always, wash your hands. So we're going to use our spoon to kind of break up that meat even further. We want it pretty fine. We don't want any like very large chunks. We want an even meat sauce. And we're going to keep letting that brown. So 1 eternity later, our meat will be browned, our onions are translucent, and our mushrooms are soft. We've also let some of the liquid that naturally came out of those cook off so that we don't have a lot. I'm going to be adding about 1 tablespoon of this stir-in ginger paste, and I'm just going to squirt it right into the pan. We're also going to be adding 2 tablespoons of the teriyaki sauce. And this is just a pre-made sauce from the grocery store. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of that. Next up, we're going to be adding about 1 tablespoon of the garlic, or the jarred garlic. And I'm just going to use the same tablespoon that I used before. If some of that liquid gets in with it, that's fine as well. That liquid is all seasoned as well. We're going to give that a stir, make sure it's all mixed around and incorporated. We want that garlic to start becoming fragrant and that ginger to get well incorporated. Okay. Next, we're going to be adding about a cup of our frozen peas. And these are just sweet garden peas from the freezer. So we're adding about a cup of those. And then we're going to be adding our 2 cups of stock. And I used about a teaspoon of that stock concentrate and then just added hot water on top of it. Any seasonings that were left in it, I'm going to scrape into the pan as well. We're going to give that a stir and let that cook. This is quite a lot of liquid for what I want, so I've let it reduce down a little bit. And now we're going to be making our slurry for the end. So we're going to be using about a tablespoon and a teaspoon of low sodium soy sauce, and I'm just going to squirt it into this extra dish here and set that off. And we're going to be using cornstarch to make our slurry. So we're going to be using it not straight into the pan. You don't want to put it straight into the pan because it will just clump up. You want to mix it into the other liquid first. So we're going to be putting that into our soy sauce. And I'm going to do 2 scoops here, which is about the same amount of cornstarch to soy sauce. And you can absolutely use a tiny whisk for this. I'm just going to use my finger. That way I can make sure that all of that cornstarch gets dissolved into the soy sauce. You don't want any clumps. Clumps are just going to stick and they're not going to properly thicken your sauce. So make sure all of those little clumps are dissolved into the soy sauce so that it's a nice even slurry. And once that's all even, then you're going to pour it directly into your sauce. Make sure you get any little bits. And as you notice that I start to stir it around, that sauce starts to immediately thicken. As soon as that slurry hits the heat, it starts to thicken the sauce. So we're going to keep stirring that so we get all of the little parts incorporated into that. All of the liquid around the edges needs to be incorporated with that slurry to start to thicken up. We don't want it thick in the middle and loose on the edges. It's not going to give you a good sauce. And you'll see as I go that I start to scrape the pan one direction to see how quickly that sauce comes back together. You want to be able to scrape it down the middle of the pan and have it wait a second before it comes back together. Once it does, and it does that kind of all the way around the pan, then your sauce is good. Cut the heat. So now we're going to start plating up. We're going to use our cooked and drained spaghetti. And this was enough just for my plate. I was pretty hungry today. You could absolutely cut that in half and do a side, but I'm just going to have this for dinner. My pan is still hot, but I don't want a loose rubber handle, so I'm going to use my pot holder. And we're going to just spoon that sauce right on top. A good healthy amount so that it gets all over our spaghetti when we go to mix it up later. And the rest of this I will freeze. And that is our Oriental beef and noodles. And that is our recipe for today. We took the ground hamburger, mushrooms, onions, peas, and a couple of sauces like teriyaki and soy sauce, and that condensed chicken and vegetable broth that we had made, and made it into our Oriental beef and noodles. This was using whole wheat spaghetti noodles. You can absolutely use any kind of noodles you'd like. You can use fresh peas rather than frozen peas. You can use stir-in ginger paste or fresh ginger. It's up to you. You can always make it exactly what you want. If you don't like mushrooms, you don't have to put mushrooms in it. If you don't like onions, you don't have to put onions in it. If you wanted to add something extra like salt and pepper or MSG, you can definitely do that as well. But using that cornstarch with the soy sauce to thicken up that sauce, it made it thicken up almost instantly. So definitely wait to do that until the very end. As always, this was for one person. I have extra sauce because I plan on making more spaghetti later this week to use it for lunches. I can absolutely freeze what I have left over so that if I don't want it the rest of this week, I can grab it out of the freezer sometime in the future for a quick and easy meal where all I have to make is spaghetti. So that's an easy thing that you can do ahead of time and put in the freezer for a night when you just can't be bothered to cook. So that is a very easy, quick and grab meal. It didn't take very long to make it at all, probably about 35 minutes total. So it's definitely an easy dinner and almost a one pan meal. That second pot just for the noodles. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you'll come back for more. Some of my family recipes, some of my not family recipes. There's things that we enjoy to cook over here at The Single Cook. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and keep coming back for more content.